Hello, my friends. How are you? This is Dr. Annette here, and my goodness, we have come a long way. We are at the end of our third part or our third unit, and it's focusing on alliances. And today we're going to wrap it up. We're going to review chapters 21 and then the final thoughts that the author has, and then we're going to wrap up our alliances and reflection, and then we're going to move on to the next section. Okay, where the next one is about risk, and that will be the R. All right, my friends. So if you've been following along with us, I hope that you are able to see the connections. I hope that you are able to have done some serious reflection about your season, about where you are, and what it is that you're doing to leave your heart print on those that you meet. All right, so without further ado, let's dig into the last section of our part 3 of our unit. All right, so let me change the slides here. Bring up the slides. All right, so we are here in the last section of our unit and focusing on the book Heart. And here we go. Let me get these slides going here. Next slide. All right. So again, finding happiness. Hopefully, I want this sentence to make more and more sense every time I read it, right? Finding happiness through engagement and meaningful alliances while taking focused risks using intelligent thought and wisdom. And that our heart print matters, my friends. Okay. So again, if you have your supplies handy, you're going to need these as we continue our journey together. Lots of great opportunities to focus and to reflect. All 5 of these heart print elements come together, okay? So we're focusing on the alliances today. And our essential question that we're going to wrap up today is, are you a person open to influence and shared values, able to become more relationally intelligent and interdependent with others? And again, finally, the A is for alliances. Again, in this section, we will explore an understanding of the heart print aspect of alliances, the nature of collaboration as a bumpy road, and how to become someone others would want to collaborate with. We've been navigating a lot, right? So we will also explore the benefits and the costs of belonging as part of our work life heart print on our students and our colleagues. All right, so with that, let's take a look at 21. And you know what? This is something that I love to do. My friends, this is celebration, making above and beyond the norm the norm. Okay? Terrence Deal and M.K. Key say celebrations infuse life with passion and purpose. They summon the human spirit. And I just got to say, I don't think that we do enough celebrating. We need to really celebrate those accomplishments. And it's whenever, as a classroom teacher, I look at the individual student and I think about what is that individual student doing that goes above and beyond the norm to be a better person, to be a better student, to be a better teammate in our environment. As a leader, what are the teachers doing that goes above and beyond the norm to make a better collaborative environment, to build upon the culture that you have, to be a leader of the school? All right. So I suspect the author on page 141 is where I'm at. I suspect you and your team will have one regret if you do not become intentional about this most important element of the alliances you forge in your life. You will look back and realize you did not celebrate nearly enough. I have never heard any team of educators complain that their work effort, behavior, or results were celebrated too much. If anything, the complaint is too little, far too little. And the author goes on to explain how it was important that he celebrated his staff, what he did to let them know that they are amazing. They went above and beyond the norm. But the author gives us some specific things to make it understanding so that it's effective, all right? So the author plans purposeful celebrations that are effective, usually about 3 times a year. He explains that he does it kind of midway between the first, like the first and second quarter, then at the end of the semester, beginning of the next semester, and then finally at the end of the school year. And I know as a classroom teacher, I tried to do monthly celebrations because we were celebrating our work all year long. And it was something that the students loved to do. Okay. So these are the 4 things that the author wants you to think about when you plan a purposeful celebration to make certain that these are effective. The author states that we should have effective identification. 2 months before the celebration event, the administrative team, the faculty, and the staff would submit names of individuals and teams worthy of a, quote, super PAT, end quote. And they called it super PAT because PAT is the abbreviated of the Patriots, which was their mascot. Okay. Also, effective criteria. The award would be given based on any above and beyond adult actions that moved the school closer to its vision, values, and desired results. And number 3, effective rewards. Awardees received a variety of Super PAT hardware, from a paperweight and bookends to a book that might reflect their hobbies or interests, definitely personalizing. And then finally, effective storytelling. Important elements of the process included connecting the story to student success, describing the predicament that was solved, highlighting the details and effects of the adult actions, and saving the names of the awardees until the very end. For example, here's an example. When a colleague's spouse was critically ill for an extended period of time, these 2 teachers stepped in and helped out in a big way. In their efforts to ensure that no student fell behind due to the extended absence of the teacher, these 2 individuals created subplans, shared teaching responsibilities, wrote and scored assessments, and provided her students with extra help as needed. Their superior efforts helped to minimize the impact of their colleagues' absence by continuing to provide students with quality instruction and feedback on their performance. Their willingness to go above and beyond has earned them this recognition. This Super PAT goes to, and then it's the blank. All right. So when you hear that sequence there, effective identification, excuse me, it is important that that this is a priority, right? It doesn't take place. Let me come back to me on this because this is really important. All right. Excuse me. All right. So it is important that we effectively identify those that go above and beyond. Okay. And so when we do that, it is not a last minute thing. It is something that we are, as leaders, as educators, as colleagues, we are looking all the time. Okay, we're looking all the time for that person or people that go above and beyond to move the school closer to its vision. All right, and that's the goal. The mission is that we educate, right? The vision is that we want all students to succeed. Okay, so effective identification, make that a priority. If it's not a priority, then it's going to be a last minute and not as effective. The next one is effective criteria. Again, as he shared in this little letter that he wrote, and I shared just previously, that there's specific criteria. What is that criteria? Moving the school forward and reaching the vision, right? We have a mission also that we're there, to educate and the students. And then that vision is that all students are going to be successful, okay? Even if a colleague's absent, right? We all pitch in and we all help out. The next one is effective rewards. Okay, something that is unique. It doesn't have to be, a pencil or something that is an everyday item, but something that is unique. That way, the person who's receiving it, the recipient, really knows that the gift that was given exemplifies his or her acts, the work that he or she did. And whenever it's a purposeful gift, then that person knows that it was not a last minute thought. Okay. So remember priority. And then effective storytelling, right? tell the reason why this person or people are getting this specific award. Maybe it wasn't just in one instance, maybe it was several instances that come together as a common theme that focus on this individual. Okay, so my friends, those four, let me come back to them so you can write them down if you don't have them written down, or highlight them in your book, right? Effective identification, effective criteria, effective rewards, effective storytelling. And when you have these four components, you will plan a purposeful celebration that is effective. Okay. All right. I think that is all. The one thing that I put a big star on here, and as I was reading this, I felt that the author really gave us a charge. So let me read this to you. So spend your life working to develop a radical celebration plan with your family, colleagues, and students. Begin publicly and privately celebrating now. Don't delay. Don't make excuses. Don't say you are too busy. Don't take the efforts of those around you for granted. Celebrate small day-to-day efforts that are above and beyond the norm for expectations at work. And make sure you celebrate the heroes that bring the meaningful moments of student learning into a reality. All right, my friends, remember, you need to have celebrations, right? It definitely keeps us in the frontal lobe. It moves us into that quadrant one, and it helps us to support and cheer on each other as a cohesive team, okay? As a cohesive community. All right, now let's look at some of the reflective thoughts here. So what is your reaction to the Howard Gardner quote? Oops, I forgot to read that. The Howard Gardner quote. Let me go back here and read that. Actually, I think this is a wrong slide. I think this is not the correct slide. I think I should have deleted this one maybe. Let me look. Page 140. No. I see. Okay, page 143. Okay, here we go. Here is the quote. Okay, so the artful creation and articulation of stories. Well, let me back up. Now, you know that Howard Gardner is the person who did research and identified 9 multiple intelligences. Okay, and those 9 multiple intelligences are ways as educators that we present information so we're taking that science and we are presenting information for our students using the art of teaching. So as a Harvard professor, Howard Gardner cited this by Kouzes and Posner. He emphasizes this part. The artful creation and articulation of stories constitutes a fundamental part of the teacher's vocation. Stories speak to both parts of the human mind, its reason and emotion. And I suggest further that it is stories of identity, narratives that help individuals think about and feel who they are, where they come from, and where they are headed, that constitute the single most powerful weapon in the teacher's literary arsenal. All right, so this is all tied into the importance of those stories, making those stories a fundamental part of the teacher's vocation, speaking those stories of the human, right? Do it with reason, do it with emotion. I suggest further that these stories they are the narratives that help those individuals think and feel who they are, where they come from, and where they are headed. Okay, so this is the most powerful weapon in a teacher's literary arsenal, is to celebrate. So I want you to think about that. What is your reaction to the Howard Gardner quote? Do your current celebrations meet some of his listed criteria? Okay, and that's going to wrap up that chapter. Are you ready to move on? Here we go. Final thoughts. Why helping others drives our success. All right, so in this here, the author is talking about a person, says, meet Adam Grant. Grant is an author and a professor at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. He wrote an engaging and helpful New York Times best-selling book. The book is Give and Take, Why Helping Others Drive Our Success. And right there is the reason why the author titled this as Why Helping Others Drives Our Success. If you are interested in this topic, I highly recommend this book for an in-depth look at the nature of the colleagues that you work with every day. So in this book, Grant identifies 3 different types of people: those that are takers, those that are givers, and those that are matchers. Okay, now a taker. Takers like to get more than they give. They place their own interest ahead of others' interests or needs. Number 2 is the givers. Givers prefer to give more than they get. They are other focused, placing more attention on what other people need from them. And number 3 is matchers. Now, matchers prefer to keep a score and keep things balanced. They are focused on a principle of fairness and an even exchange of favors. Now, I want you to stop and think, which of these 3 is going to be the most successful? Okay. Which one of these 3 is the least successful? It's kind of a trick question. Well, my friends, the author shares that the least successful style is the givers. On the other hand, the author says those who are at the top of the success ladder are the givers. Okay, the givers are on your team. When balancing the nature of their giving, they are the most successful teachers and leaders in your school. To quote Grant, he says, "When takers win, there's usually someone else who loses," right? Research shows that people tend to envy success takers and look for ways to knock them down a notch, right? Revenge, right? AKA revenge. In contrast, when givers win, people are rooting for them and supporting them rather than gunning for them. Givers succeed in a way that creates a ripple effect, enhancing the success of people around them. You'll see the difference lies in how giver success creates value instead of just claiming it as the takers would. Alrighty. Now, I want you to also listen here on 2 more points of interest that the author made. So the author says that if you are to be a successful giver and not one of those who fails on the trash heap, then you need these 2 cautions. Excuse me. Number 1 is enhance other interest and high self-interest. Make sure you take care of your own self-interest along the way, right? Keep your bucket full. As Grant indicates, quote, "Successful givers were not just more other-oriented than their peers, they were also more self-interested, just as ambitious as takers and matchers." Food for thought. And number 2, this caution: get and give impact feedback. Okay, giver burnout has less to do with compassion fatigue and more to do with knowing whether or not there is an impact as a result of the giving. Did a colleague's behavior change in the classroom? Did student learning increase during this unit of study? Grant describes this frustration for teachers. Now, quote, "Even though teachers interact with their students on a daily basis, it can take many years for their impact to sink in. By then, the student has moved on, and teachers are left wondering, did my work actually matter?" So that is a caution for the givers, okay? We pour all of our heart and energy. Let me come back to me on this one. We pour our heart and our energy out to those students, out to those families, and the student may not realize that impact for years later. I know I have been blessed with the opportunity for students and parents to come back to me years after I've had their child and just thank me for the work that I did with their child, for identifying, perhaps it was moving that student forward into identification for any special needs. Maybe it was the high expectations. This was a fun one. The high expectations that I held for the students and their ability to achieve that, and how that they were able to see those results later on as their workload increased in middle school and in high school. So it is wonderful to have those opportunities where the students come back to you, or where those teachers come back to you, and they thank you for the work that you did to support them. And and it's something that is like delayed gratitude, right? It's a delayed gratitude. And I am always thankful, always blessed whenever I have those opportunities to talk to people who have experienced something. Maybe I had just a little smidgens of a little help with that person, but the impact that what I did had on that person. So yeah, definitely the giver. So caution on those 2 points. All right. So I want to read one other thing from this as we close out here. I close with this Heartprint comment. The C in PLC is community, and that is worth fighting for. To do so means we honor the agreements and the covenants of our teams, give in to our self interest, and unleash our unselfish gene, but not to the point we let others take advantage of us. We cut through the noise of our work and erase student learning iniquities caused by our own isolated behaviors. We push to improve our emotional intelligence. We treat other students and colleagues with grace, and we practice the pedagogy of being fully present each day. All right, my friends. So I hope that over the course of these past few sessions that you've had an opportunity to engage in the learning, engage in reflective learning, think about some areas that you want to work up on this next season and or this current season, depending upon when you're watching these videos. But yeah, the building those alliances and all that it encompasses is so powerful. Couple that with engagement and then group that with happiness, as we've been learning. That is that the true heartprint that we can have and that we can leave on others. Okay, my friends. All right, that's all I have for you today. I look forward to digging into the next section, part 4, unit 4, which is focusing on the R, and that is risk. Okay, so taking those risks in order to better ourselves as educators in support of the students that we're working with and colleagues that we're working with as well. And as a leader, taking that risk to support those students, those colleagues, and other educators. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope that you have a blessed day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.